r/ask Reddit. What is your never again brand, store, restaurant, or company? I took my Beta Woods truck to a local tire shop for an alignment. They told me they couldn't align it because I had a sticky U-joint, and then charged me for an hour of labor because I had to take the tie rods off. I argued because U-joints don't impact alignment, and B, there was about an inch of grime on the castle nuts, so there's no way the tie rods came off. They brought out a manager who just made shit up about how alignments work. I am a mechanical engineer. I think they thought they could get away with it because I am female. Nope. I filed a complaint with the state and they were fined for lying about service costs. Good for you. I hate people who take advantage because they think their customers don't know any better. Makes me absolutely furious how commonplace it is. My aunt has her dream car. She loves it. One day, it randomly died right on the road. Has to get it towed. Repair place says it won't run at all. Engine is totally beyond saving. Offers to buy the car from her for cheap, or let her trade it in for some pile of junk barely functional used car they have. She was very upset and stressed about the whole thing. Of course. Not only was she about to lose her dream car she'd worked so hard to get, she'd be driving a piece of junk on her very long and somewhat dangerous commute. She had to go over a hill every day with twisty roads, long drops off the side, and no cell service at the highest point. You just know that in a month or two the junk trade-in would need repairs as well. And she was already in serious money trouble. Before you judge, she got the dream car quite a bit before the money issues happened. She couldn't afford to be maintaining a car like that. And if she couldn't get to work she would be homeless with no one to take care of her two elderly cats. Well, a friend of a friend was a mechanic. Offered to ask him to take a look at it. Turns out the car did still run fine for short distances. The shop completely lied about that. Also, there was absolutely nothing wrong with the engine. She needed an oil change and one minor part replaced, after which the car ran well as it ever had. I bought an engine from AutoZone for a vehicle I owned. They had a vendor build the engine, and it was supposed to ship to my house. I waited 3 weeks for it to arrive, but it never did. I contacted their store, was told that it hadn't shipped yet and was coming via FedEx Freight. I kept up with the tracking but couldn't get anywhere with it. I kept calling back every couple of days to see what was going on, and no one could figure it out. I finally managed to find out that it had shipped via another company, RL Freight, and had been delivered to somewhere else. It was like pulling teeth to get a refund on an engine I never received. It took another 2 weeks to get the refund. I won't buy a soda from AutoZone now. Yep, I got 3 bad starters in a row from them. I thought I was losing my ducking mind. 4th came from a dealership and it's still in the truck 4 years later. Whenever buying a part from AutoZone or Advance, get it tested before leaving if possible. Mine got a whole batch of bad alternators once. Had to test 30 before they found a good one. A bar I went to on my 25th birthday. I got there first and opened a tab to get my first couple of drinks before my friends showed up and started buying for me. At the end of the night I went to get my bill, which should have been under $20. Instead, I got a single piece of paper with a total of $85. It did not come with an itemized slip. Open bracket. Edit. For the people who can't gather this from context, that was unusual. All the times I'd gone to the bar before, I got itemized receipts. All of my friends that night got itemized receipts when they closed out. I spent 20 minutes on my birthday at the bar, calling out the bartender's name, asking for an itemized receipt, while he pretended he could neither see nor hear me. I went home and reached out to management and explained the story to them, including how long I tried to get his attention. Her reply: if you thought there was an issue with your receipt, you should have asked the bartender to explain it to you. Never again. Case anyone cares. It's Penn Social in DC. Edit. Since this seems to be coming up a lot, this is America, so not chip and pin. They won't serve you unless they first swipe your credit card. I could not simply leave without paying. It was going to be charged to me no matter what. My experience with disputing charges is that it's not super convenient, so I was really hoping to be able to deal with this at the bar without having to do that. So please don't be one of the 337 people who have told me I would have just left. Edit. Thank you for the silver, kind stranger. If anyone else wants to do the same, please donate the money to a charity instead, or just give it to a homeless person. Duck that. Hope you disputed the charge. I was young and stupid and in hindsight could have handled it much better on my end. I now know much better methods I could have used, and if this occurred to me another time I would handle it better. If I see something is being shipped by On Track, I'll cancel. The 3 times they were the delivery company from Amazon. They lost one package completely and tried to say it wasn't their fault. The second package was also deemed lost but then showed up on my doorstep something like 6 weeks later. The third time it sat on shipping label created for a week and I just contacted Amazon and cancelled the package. You don't find a lot of positive reviews out there, and any positive ones you do find seem like they were written by the company via a fake account. Every package I've ever had stolen was shipped via On Track. They claimed it was delivered and I never find it. One time I looked with minutes of its supposed delivery. Yep, sure maybe the residents of my apartment complex are shady, but UPS, FedEx, and USPS never seem to have this issue. On Track regularly marks my packages as delivered without coming anywhere near my house. I always have to call and complain, and they have to come back the next day. I've had them pretend to find the package in my front yard after I watched them leave the car with it. Chili's. I don't know how this even happens, but I was served fried chicken that was cold and literally had ice on it. Edit. To anyone reading this later on, I want you to know that Chili's PR staff has contacted me trying to smooth things over. Yeah right. Chili's served me frozen food and I'd rather trash them forever than be sweet-talked with a gift card. Well, it's not called Warmies, dude. Best idea ever for a restaurant. A wall of microwaves and a wall of TV dinners. Warmies. For when life gives you the cold shoulder. Frontier Internet. They're one of the shittiest ISPs I've ever had. I will never go back, no matter how cheap it is. Okay, so we have your internet hooked up. Wait, I only get 1 megabit per second for $60 a month up to, the speeds are up to 30 megabits per second. So I had 4 no-show installations and took off 5 days of work for 1 megabit per second internet? Yep, I guess so, comma. This is a true story that happened in a small Midwest town approximately 3 years ago. It's ludicrous that internet providers are allowed to refer to their internet speeds like this. Ducking AT&T. It's one thing after another with these a-holes. They've been taking $60 a month from my checking account for the last 7 months for a prepaid phone that I don't have. They can't tell me why or take me off auto draft because I don't have a phone number to look up the phone that I don't own. Just spent almost an hour at the bank trying to dispute this shit. It's just the most recent in a long list of duckery caused by AT&T. Those twats. I work in the electronics industry. With your brief summary, if it's safe to assume your identity has been compromised, I'd review your credit history thoroughly and lock down the bank account you referenced. If I'm right, I am sorry, but you are also fortunate that they only got a prepaid phone. Panera. They raised prices and shrank their portions a while ago. Not worth it anymore. Dunkin' Donuts, for the same reasons, shrunk their donuts 3 times now and the price has gone up. It's just Dunkin' now. Even the name got smaller. Wafer. Delivered a wooden table that had a huge split on the side and was broken where you put the leaf to extend the table. Got 4 deliveries and every single time it was the exact same table with the same damage. Eventually got a full refund, but did they seriously think that would work? Makes 0 sense to me. Bonus. Ordered a bedroom set around the same time and paid for delivery and assembly. The assemblers were 2/3 through the assembly and told me they couldn't finish because they couldn't understand the instructions. Had them take all the stuff back and also got a refund. I had some fairly expensive furniture delivered from Art Van before and noticed a pretty big scuff where the laminate was chipped off the side of a computer hutch. This was the mid-90s, lol. Anyway, they said they'd get another from the truck, which I found really implausible, and sure enough they were gone for 10 minutes before coming back with the same hutch, except they had colored in the chipped area with a brown marker. I made some interesting phone calls after that one. This really tickled me. Spirit Airlines. Never again. Duck them. Flight from Vegas got cancelled. They don't even bother trying to put you on another flight. Not only that, you have to pay extra for the next flight available. I told them they can go duck themselves and I want a refund. The customer service person told me he can refund me Spirit credit. That's when I lost it. After enough beaching, he gave me my money back to my credit card and I bought a flight on Delta. Edit. Thanks for the silver kind person. After my experience, I made it a point to go on several review sites and made a start to never fly Spirit again. This was one of many incidents I have had to deal with them. This one just broke me because I was flying back from Vegas. I can only handle Vegas for 2 nights. After that I want the duck out of there. Having to stay there another night was not something I wanted to do. Also, it was not weather related as they told me. No other flights into Detroit that day were cancelled. I checked. I even told that to the customer service agent. He shrugged it off. I said this about another Spirit complaint in this thread. All Spirit Airlines flights should be non-stop and one way. I've never flown Spirit. Doing so tomorrow because it's cheap and short notice because it's for a funeral. At least I'm flying non-stop, but it is a round trip ticket. Edit. To anyone wondering, both flights had slight delays, but overall if you're looking to fly cheap then Spirit is totally fine, but I would advise just taking a backpack to avoid paying fees for carry-on or a checked bag. Duck Comcast. The fact that they pride themselves on their customer service is absolutely shameful. One of the worst companies to deal with. Comcast promised my dad more channels and Verizon Fios. I told him not to switch, but they were offering more at a lower rate apparently. We switch. Less than half the channels they offered. My dad ripped them new a-holes. They did nothing. Went back to Fios within a month. And Fios even offered an even lower rate to try and convince him to switch back. Comcast. A door-to-door salesman straight up lied to my dad, saying they had a 4 DVR setup that would cost less than what we were paying AT&T. When the installation guy got there, he said that no, they didn't have a 4 DVR setup. He was told to give us the standard 2 DVR setup, which was absolutely not something that would work in a house with 6 people with wildly different tastes in TV shows. So my dad tells him never mind, we're sticking with AT&T then. But because the Comcast guy had already installed our new cable box, he couldn't take it back with him, so we had to mail it back to Comcast ourselves. The kicker is, 5 years later Comcast tried to bill my parents for the cable box, saying we never sent it back. My parents insisted they did, and Comcast wanted the UPS receipt, which obviously we no longer had because it was 5 years ago and we hadn't heard anything from them before this. So my parents refused to pay. Comcast sent a collections company after us, and when my parents explained the situation to the collection company, they were like, those duckers, we'll take care of this. That was, thankfully, the end of it. Probably the nicest collections agency you'll ever see. That happens so rarely where they will do anything but hound you for payment. Comcast is so known for billing for the boxes even after they have been returned. I had mortgage underwriters just ignore Comcast collection accounts. Underwriters never just ignore collection accounts. Tony's Pizza Palace, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. The 26th of September, 1986 was the day I buried my infant son. He was 11 months old and died from complications due to being born 3 months premature. His twin brother is healthy and got married 5 years ago. After returning from the burial ceremony to the funeral home, we went out to our cars and found flyers tucked under the windshield wipers. Having a family get together? Why not have it at Tony's Pizza Palace? Ask about our group discounts at it. I thought I should add this. Tony's happens to be 1 block away from the funeral home, 3 blocks from the second biggest hospital, and about 10 blocks away from the second biggest shopping mall in the city, all of which are in a straight line. I figure some 17-year-old kid working part-time for Tony's was given a pile of flyers and asked to put them on cars at the mall. The kid, not thinking, saw all the cars and probably started at the funeral home, then went to the hospital parking lots and was probably out of flyers before he even got to the mall. I seriously doubt anyone in management, or perhaps I hope that nobody, at Tony's was aware that this happened. But it happened on a day that I won't forget and I still haven't gotten past it. Yikes. What if the flyers were put there by Alfredo's Pizza Cafe to try to ruin Tony's business? 1,800 flowers. Duck them. They waited several days after I placed an order for Mother's Day to tell me that they wouldn't be able to fulfill the order. They waited until the day before. putting me in a bad position. Now I Google my mom's zip, add flowers and have a few choices. I call the local shops directly and 1,800 flowers is cut out of the process. Same. Local florists are the only way to go. Also 1,800 flowers never unsubscribes you from their cavalcade of marketing shit. My sister sent my mother some flowers for her birthday and luckily my mom sent us a picture of the bouquet. Thanks so much for the flowers. They look nice but it was not what was advertised. There were supposed to be some Gabbero daisies and it was bullshit carnations. My sister knows her flowers so she knows the difference. I get some things are hard to come by during certain seasons. But to just swap them in and not say anything is wrong. Edit. Grammar. TurboTax. Did my return. Got a notice that my e-file needed to be corrected. Logged back in to fix it and my return wasn't there anymore. 6 hours on the phone with 3 tiers of tech support. Each one trying exactly the same thing. Finally they were just trying random shit. So I tried random shit in parallel. Managed to get to my return with the invoice number from paying for the service without logging in. Tried to get them to understand that this was a very bad thing that they should report to someone. And they told me they had no access to anyone technical and no way to submit bugs. This from the company that lobbied to make it illegal for the government to offer tax filing service. I know you weren't asking for advice, but for anyone else with similar experiences, here is the most recent r/personalfinance tax filing software Megathread. I've personally used TaxAct and Free Tax User. I recommend both of them although I can't comment on customer service since I haven't required any. I loathe TurboTax and everything they stand for so I'm always eager to let people know there are alternatives. Tim Hortons. Quality is gone. They no longer have in-store bakeries. The coffee blend is god-awful. The menu is huge. The speed of service is horrible and the way the owners are treated by the franchise is just disgusting. They need to stop trying to do everything and get back to focusing on what made them great. Edit. As a former Tim's baker I'm glad to see I'm not the only one who's feeling this way. Thanks for the silver trademark sign and platinum trademark sign, kind strangers. Unfortunately I don't see it happening anytime soon. When the Burger King company took it over years ago they implemented an American cost-cutting model designed to improve profits at the expense of serving quality food and beverage. Tim's is only busy due to nostalgia and familiarity at this point. I don't think anyone would say they actually like the food or coffee. You're right about how the owners are treated as well. A few of my friends own Tim's locations and they have some horror stories about corporate. Comcast. Duck Comcast. They failed to turn off my service when I changed addresses. Billed me for 2 more months. Sent me to collections. And harassed me for 3 years. I could sue but it's not worth the stress. Edit. Holy crap, my inbox additional info. I called them about this more than a dozen times and every time escalated the situation. They have dozens of tapes of us. Albeit a few of them I am absolutely freaking out about the whole thing on the phone. My best experience was when I called their corporate office directly, but even then it was a shit show and like a week before anything happened. And I was still being harassed by collection companies somehow. Never again. I am currently stuck with Comcast. I pay for their 60 Mbps internet package to get 15 Mbps downloads along with only being able to have one device connected at a time. Cancun. A little Mexican restaurant in my area. They had a bunch of tacos on their menu, all of which listed cheese and white sauce as ingredients. The fish tacos didn't, so I ordered them and didn't bother specifying that I didn't want cheese or white sauce. Well, they came out smothered in both and I couldn't eat them, so I sent them back. The waiter came out and made a huge show of interrogating my husband about why she, meaning me, sitting right there across the ducking table, fully capable of speaking for myself, sent back the food, and told my husband that it wasn't the restaurant's fault that she didn't just assume that the tacos would obviously come covered in ingredients the menu didn't mention. When I said that he should be talking to me, the one with the problem, he said that he was only comfortable talking with the one who would be paying the bill. I asked to speak to the manager, and as he was leaving to get him, I very clearly heard him call me a beach on his way out. The manager backed up his sexist prick of a server, so we left without paying, have never gone back, and have told others not to go. Duck that place. I read that as a little Mexican restaurant in Cancun and was thinking, wow, She is sticking to her guns if she is refusing to go back to an entire city because of one a-hole waiter. Are we from the same area? We have Cancun. There are 2 or 3, and they are all garbage. Is it me or every brand is in a process to reduce costs, making products and services of bad quality, losing the original magic, and even rising prices to the point where is scam to buy the product again? Edit 1 spelling. Edit 2. This blow up. Edit 3. Thanks kind stranger. Open bracket. Gracious. That is every company once they become big enough, especially if they have shareholders. Verizon. When I called to cancel because I was switching to AT&T prepaid, they insisted that I had the pricing of my new plan wrong because it couldn't be so cheap. I pushed back and ultimately got the rep to cancel my plan, or so she said. 2 months later I get a bill for my Verizon plan and they claimed I wasn't eligible to get it refunded. She had actually just put my account on hold for a week. So on my end it looked like it had been cancelled. I had to report them to the BBB to get my money back and they will never get my money again. BBB, that is nobody. You need to report to the FTC for fraudulent charges. Speaking of shady businesses, let's talk BBB. Give us money and we'll say you're legit so old people will feel secure spending their money on your business. Olive Garden. First the meals got shitty and I could deal with it, but then the Alfredo sauce did too, and that's where I draw the line. Olive Garden is basically turning into Italian fast food. To be honest, I am kind of okay with that. It's almost satisfyingly bad. If they open up a drive-thru, I think I would unironically go to it. So, a Fazoli's. Macy's. Got a credit card through them to buy a suit. My parents offered to pay the card off as a birthday present. Q months of them calling me 5+ times a day, asking where the payment that had already been made was, harassing me to make more and larger payments. When it was finally paid off, they then tacked on a completed payment fee and never sent a bill. So the whole damn thing started all over. I was genuinely about to file a lawsuit over harassment or something. It was unbelievable, because I would tell one person the payment was made, and then get 4 more calls the same day asking the same thing. Then rinse and repeat tomorrow. I worked Macy's for about a year. They charge their credit card holders like $1.75 a month if they don't use their card. They take it away if you actually charge something on the card. I asked the manager to explain it to me and she was just like, oh yeah, they'll remove the charge if you call in and ask them to, so it's no big deal. Like WTF. It's no big deal until that $1.75 gets charged a $30 late fee because you didn't know you had to pay anything. It still pisses me off when I think about it. Edit. I worked there in 2016. I looked around online and it was a minimum interest fee, which meant that if the interest charged was less than $2, it would be rounded up to $2 and was kind of hidden on the bill. They aren't supposed to do it anymore, but there seems to be a glitch in the system that still randomly applies it, which is why they just take it off if you call in about it. LuLaRoe. I only bought stuff to help out a friend that was trying to make ends meet. Luckily she quit after about a year. Bought 3 pairs of leggings over the course of the year and none of them made it the year without holes. $25 each. Never again. Also, I felt gross buying from an MLM, but like I said, just supporting a friend. My friend spent almost $20,000 to start up for LuLaRoe. She ended up not selling very much, and they don't let you return the unused product for full price, only half price. I'm glad she's not selling it anymore because I have the same complaint about the quality of the clothes. Absolute garbage pyramid scheme. Who in their right mind would spend $20,000 on that nonsense? Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.